So, it's a sad, sad day for politics in Nigeria. What a shame. For full-grown politicians to be crying like children. Experienced politicians to be crying like children. That was the scene at the ADC headquarters. You had Atiku, you had Amechi, you had Aregbesola, you had the cream de la cream of the ADC gathered for one reason: to cry. To cry that INEC has dumped the David Mark faction for another person. What a shame. How can experienced politicians like Atiku, experienced politicians like Rotimi Amechi, experienced politicians like Aregbesola, how can you guys allow this kind of thing to happen? How? You play into the hand of Tinubu, and then you turn around to cry and say, oh, they want to make Nigeria a one-party state? It is your fault. It is your fault, because a commoner like me predicted this thing 13 months ago first, then 6 months ago. I saw it coming. And I expected that smart politicians, or experienced politicians, not so smart obviously, experienced politicians like you guys would have had a plan to prevent this kind of thing from happening. But did you? You took over a party out of desperation. A strategic politician would not have done that. If it meant creating a fresh political party from scratch, that's what a smart politician would have done. And it would have started as far back as 2015. 2015 you didn't do it. 2019 you didn't do it. 2023 you didn't do it. And then when in 2026, all you decided to do was to hijack a party from the back door. I complained about it then. Of course, what did I get? The usual, what do you know? This is what happens when you have politicians who have no regard for the rule of law, no regard for the constitution of a party. And I blame Atiku for this. He believes he can just bulldoze his way through without regard for established constitutional procedures. No regard. Now you say, oh, you have the resignation of all the NWC members. The constitution of the ADC as at then prescribed a procedure. You didn't follow it. You couldn't think of starting another political party. When you had the likes of Professor Nwonkobia and other people planning, putting in their effort to register a brand new political party, you guys didn't do that. You didn't do that. And now full-grown men, elderly men, so-called veteran politicians are crying like baby. You played right into the hands of APC. You played right into the hands of Tinubu. Even I would not do that. I don't pity you. The only person I pity is Peter Obi. I don't pity you guys at all. You should know better. I pray and wish you success, that your emotional blackmail of INEC will work. Because it's only emotional blackmail. The protest you are planning is an emotional blackmail. To say, okay, they're trying to make Nigeria a one-party state is emotional blackmail. On the face of law, you guys, una goof. Una goof. Make we talk true. Make them go shame. Una goof. When a party chairman resigns, the deputy national party chairman takes over. Now, if you say you had the resignation of all the NWC, the proper thing to do was to call for a congress to elect the next set of leaders. That is what Ralph Nwosu is supposed to have done. If, as at the time of resignation, in fact, he didn't even need to resign, he would have just called for a congress. Ralph Nwosu didn't need to resign. The NWC didn't need to resign. They could have called for a congress so that things will be done properly. Now, you say Nafiu Bala resigned. Now Nafiu Bala has come to say he did not resign, that his signature was forged. Well, I hope it is true that his signature was not forged, because that's the only way you have something to hold on to. If you can prove that the signature is the same as with other signature, to me it looks forged. Because if you look at it, somebody is writing a resignation letter, he's using a template. They just leave space for him to write the name with hand, leave another space for signature, every other thing, template. No, now, like I said, I pity Peter Obi, and I pray that your emotional blackmail works and they hand over the ADC back to you. But for me, my advice is simple. Peter Obi, you have 20 days to go to DLA. 20 days before it is too late. 20 days to form an alliance of the people. Many of your supporters, Mr. Peter Obi, are not comfortable with your alliance with this set of people. They are not. Don't let anybody deceive you to tell you that you need the alliance of this set of people to win. You don't. You just need the alliance of the people like you got in 2023. This time around, with better strategy. That's all you need. Again, what do I know? Perhaps I'll get the usual response that I should go and sit down. My mouth is smelling. I should put my mouth in one corner. I will. But I will not just be somebody who complains. I'll be part of the solution. Nothing can change without free and fair elections. Tinubu can do good for this country, but he's not doing it because for some reason, some people have something on him. And he has to dance to the tune of those people. Right now, politicians in Nigeria don't see that they need the people to be elected or to return back to office. They don't see it. And all this is because elections are not free and fair. All this is because we leave the elections to INEC alone. In 2027, we must act differently. We must provide parallel vote tabulation across all the polling units in Nigeria. And that is the solution that VoteWatch provides. All you need to do is to visit the website, www.votewatch.pro. Sign up and then you are already volunteered as a PU Marshal. With this solution, we do not only guarantee real-time transmission of results from the polling unit, but we guarantee real-time electronic collation direct from the polling units before the results go into the collation gap where abracadabra happens. This way, the result is in the public domain. This is the only way. This is the only way that we can get politicians to start respecting the rule of law, respecting their party constitution. The problem we have had with all of the opposition political party is lack of respect for the party constitution. Labour Party, Abure didn't respect the party constitution. Even the opposition didn't respect the party constitution. PDP, the same thing. ADC, the same thing. Every political party that you have seen that have issues today is because the players, the politicians within that party do not respect their constitution. That's why we are where we are today. But we have to change it. And the only way to change it is VoteWatch. I wish Atiku well. I wish all of them in the ADC well. And I hope that you are able to wiggle your way somehow out of this mess that you put yourself in. Don't blame APCO. Don't blame Tinubu. Somebody set a trap for you. You were looking at the trap and you opened your eye and walked into it. And then you say we should blame the person who set the trap. We know what their game is. In a free and fair election, Tinubu will lose. We know it. So rather than look for how to play the game and force a free and fair election, everybody is trying to game the system to their own advantage. Atiku, in a hurry to own ADC, disregarded the constitution of the ADC and decided to bring in people through the back door. And then when you talk, he'll tell you, oh, they have bought you over. When you talk, they'll say, oh, what do you know? Insult me all you want. This is the voice of conscience, your conscience. I've told you, the alliance that Peter Obi needs, Peter Obi is better off with an Omoyele Sowore and AAC. He's better off than with these people in this so-called ADC coalition. And somebody said, oh, are you aware that Deji Adeyanju said that Peter Obi bribed him? What is that compared to what El-Rufai, what Amechi, what even Atiku have said about Peter Obi? What is that compared to it? Have you forgotten what El-Rufai said about Peter Obi in 2022 here? So if Deji Adeyanju said that, does it mean that they can still not coalesce? They cannot form a coalition? Sincerely speaking, if you ask me personally, I feel that Deji Adeyanju and Omoyele Sowore are just simply pained that with all their contribution to opposition politics in Nigeria, they were overlooked by Peter Obi, who went to go and seek coalition with the likes of the Atiku. If I were Sowore, I would be pained. He's a human being. So if Peter Obi went back to an Omoyele Sowore today, I can guarantee you, Omoyele Sowore will step down for Peter Obi. Because that is the right coalition. All of these things he's saying against Peter Obi, it will stop. So Peter Obi, 20 days to go, and I'm begging you now. I know you don't need it. You're already a billionaire. But for the sake of Nigerians that are suffering under the draconian policies of this Tinubu and APC administration, please do the needful. Leave ADC now. Go to DLA or go to Sowore. 20 days to go before you cannot move anymore. Remember, April 21 is the deadline for submission of party register. And if your name is not in the party register, you cannot do primaries. So to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Don't join them to be crying, oh. Look for a way. Meanwhile, all those of you planning to go and do protest, emotionally blackmail INEC to hand over ADC back to you, I wish you success. It may work, oh. I'm not saying it may not work. It may work. But for me, what is worth doing at all is worth doing well. Like Peter Obi said, if somebody is to be called an excellency, the process that brings that person to power has to be excellent. I cannot say that the process that brought David Mark is excellent. You get K-leg. And that is what the APC is exploiting. Would you blame them? If you had such an opportunity against the APC, would you not use it? So don't blame them. Blame yourself for failing to be strategic, for failing to have a plan, for failing to have your plan have contingency, for failing to have your contingency have contingency. Blame yourselves. But while you're blaming yourself, please tell Peter Obi to go to DLA or talk to Showore. I'm not going to talk past like this. So
time is of the essence, apparently, against the backdrop of the new Electoral Act. The decision expressed by the David Mark-led group to go ahead with party activities regardless does not particularly, give a clear direction about whether or not the ADC will be on the ballot come 2027. So what more realistic options will the ADC be exploring besides pursuing this at the court to ensure that a decision is turned in its favor before the electoral timeline?
Thank you very much for the question. I think the whole thing still stops on INEC's table. Whether INEC has been been manipulated through the back door using a string to control their intention, should quickly retract that particular step as quickly as possible. And I say this as a patriotic citizen. We have an election coming up very soon in 2027. These processes of the elections have a kind of a timeline, and the timeline have already been established. Except, of course, for those who do not want us to have an election. And if you do not want us to have an election, what you are already channeling is a chaotic situation for Nigeria. And I can tell you that Nigerians will not accept it. I'm not talking about the ADC now in particular. I'm talking about Nigerians in general. Because it is already clear that even if you go to the court, it is already been pre-arranged. You go to the court and they justify the reason why the ADC will not run or put people to run for election. And that is done already against the PDP and other political. The Labour Party is a victim already, being put to regard in such a way. So going to court is not the solution. It's going back to INEC. It's not too late for INEC to retract its step as quickly as possible for the interest of the country and the people that is already been stigmatized and been choreographed, been denied, been insulted, been intimidated. And if the people are intimidated and then they are being forced to turn back, the government itself may not be comfortable in sitting on that particular seat. I'm not making a threat, I'm just giving you a fact of reality. So it is better for INEC within the next 24 hours, even earlier than that, for them to quickly retract the step. That is the only way so that we can have an election. At the end of it, on a credible election will bring in credible leaders and credible governance. That is the best way. And I'm using this opportunity to call on the security operatives to really quickly get into this matter. Their duties is to take care of the citizens, protect the country, and protect the sovereignty of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They should please, as quickly as possible, tell those who are behind this particular heinous crime against the people to quickly retract the step, because the whole problem will be on them. Because at the moment now, you can see we have already a big tank, a war tank already been stationed in front of INEC to protect what? Our own product? INEC is ours. We are the one. It is the taxpayers' money that put INEC there. So they are supposed to take care of the interests of the Nigerian people. There's no need to put up a war drum, beating of the drum for war, when the war is already outside. How I wish those particular tanks would have been put in everywhere where killings are taking place in Jos Plateau, killings are taking place in Maiduguri, killings are taking place in Zamfara, and God knows what next. Those are where you need those tanks, not in INEC office when we need to put and protect the interest of the people. The interest of the people is supposed to be number one.
Mr. Yunusa,
therefore, it's not the practical solution to this. Is a quick retraction by INEC as quickly as possible to stabilize this country, because already a lot of problem is going on. We can't take this anymore as a country. Please, INEC, do the needful. If you can't, just leave the seat and let somebody else take over the position.
Mr. Yunusa, you say that the ADC, that the solution is not to go to court. Are those your personal views?
No.
Or will the ADC be exploring an appeal at the Supreme Court level?
Let me explain why I said so. Example has already been shown in different ways. Going back to court will already legitimize illegitimacy, with all due respect to our court. And we don't have the time. The situation is that they will keep on dragging you till the end of the election, and they'll tell you that it's the process of the process of democracy. At this point, this is not process of democracy. It is criminal action against the Nigerian people. So we are appealing for the soul of the people that we do not want them to be lost in this process, that we do not want to go to court. Please, let us do the needful as quickly as possible. The way they use the night to make those pronouncements, they can use the morning to change the lives of the Nigerian people and say, yes, we made a mistake and we are correcting it. It doesn't take them anything.
So this is where we're at right now, and we must reiterate that democracy needs a vibrant, viable opposition, because that's how it's designed to work. So there's a party in power, there's a party in opposition that puts the party in power's feet to the fire, that is able to also represent the people's yearnings and say, well, you're doing it this way, but we could do it better this way, provide alternative policies. So I think that that is a foundation upon which this conversation is happening, the need for a viable opposition. But in recent times, we've had different, commentaries about the way the ADC, or at least the coalition, came together, the kinds of conversations they had, how they didn't go the route of the APC by building something from the scratch. I mean, you were at the forefront of the NCP, the National Conscience Party, at some point, but was deregistered because INEC looked and said, well, these parties are not really doing much. They're not winning elections. They're not meeting the criteria for a party. So why do we need to have 91? And at that time, they called it to, I think, 16. Now we have 20 plus political parties registered. So I want you to speak to that issue. The fact that a lot of people have said, the ADC took the easy route. You didn't build from the scratch, which is why you found yourself where you are today. So why didn't you take that route of building something from the scratch? Why did the coalition just look for an SPV, as they've described it, to prosecute this election?
Look, I was very happy with the statement that was read by the chairman of the ADC yesterday. He took his time to quickly analyze every processes that they took. And each of the processes that they took to ensure that there was no booby trap was backed by evidence. And all those evidences indicated that the person in question, Madam Nafiu, actually resigned from the party, and the INEC was fully informed of it. Let me tell you, this particular issue was already known to the party long even before the coalition was, because I'm sure they tried to do due diligence at the time and asked that every details of the party, if they have issues on ground, if they have court cases, they want to make sure that all of them were clear. And it was well established as of yesterday that yes, every detail that needs to be done with the party was done to ensure there's no booby trap. But of course, those who want to steal your property will sit back and create an easy way to do that. So what happened day before yesterday was very, very clear. And the rumors behind it is that they have been twisted to a point of resignation. Well, that is allegation. But the fact remains that they came out and made those statements, and as against the interests of the Nigerian people. And when you talk about the system is skewed in such a way that it did not even allow the normal Nigerian person to run for election or even win election. That's where we are. All of the political parties that you said did not win election, like the NCP and all, NCP won when you need to look at is that what was the preparatory ground for you to win election or to have a clean and free, fair election? It is not there. Is it the processes that have been established by INEC itself? Is it the checkmating or the funding that is needed for you to have, or for the candidate who may not have the money to bribe and pay for votes to win election? All of these processes were made in such a way that it's difficult for a normal political party to win election. And in this situation, even those who are trying to go beyond that are being strangulated. Just the case in the ADC. Everything was done to ensure that the processes were seamlessly free. But then the idea is to have a one-party state and deny candidates for running election. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of people who have seen what has transpired within a short period of time, the movement, the political party, how Peter Obi came into the party and mobilized mass people into the party, Yunusa Tanko mobilizing, more people are coming. That, of course, scared the government in power. But I find it difficult to understand. A government who has already been able to get 31 or 32 state governors behind it, why should you be afraid of running for a free and fair election? They should have used their might, and whatever it is that they have, to test their strength with the people.
All right.
Democracy is about the people, and the people are saying this is the way we want to go. You can't deny us, and they are more in population. The more you try to hold them down, the more they get angry. I don't know whether the strategic department of the government knows this.
Right.
The more you get the people angry, the more you lose them.
Well, INEC has released a statement in the aftermath of your World Press Conference, and I'm sure you've seen it, where the Commission said we're independent. You calling for the resignation of the chairman is a far cry from what independent should be. There's a constitutional process to that. So are you saying that if the INEC chairman does not resign, that you don't trust this process? Bear in mind that a prominent member of the ADC was on our show yesterday, and we asked him pointedly if he thinks that the INEC chairman had been compromised, and he said, well, no, he doesn't think that, because the INEC chairman, that's Professor Josh Amukuton, is not INEC, that INEC is an institution. So it's curious to then hear the ADC in general say, no, we now want that man to resign. So you want him to resign. If he doesn't resign, what is the ADC going to do, Mr. Tanko?
honor, integrity, and ethics of your duty remain lies with you. No constitution in the country when you know that your life or your dignity is being threatened, that you cannot resign from any position. Even as a president, you can resign. If you know that what you are being pushed to do is against the interest of your own personal self and it impinges on your integrity and the people that you are being given the opportunity to serve, you can resign, so that you can save yourself from future name calling and whatever that may befall you in the future. So in that regard, if the INEC chairman feels that his integrity is being impugned upon and he knows that they are pushing him to do something that is against his own personal principle, he can't resign. And then we will know that whether there's no conspiracy against the people using him as a tool. Now, in the instance of constitutionality, as regard to whether the INEC chairman or what he's supposed to do is in the right way. Look, the Constitution does not hold you down. It gives you an opportunity. And we, from the beginning, we knew and we've been championing, we were hoping that we'll have credible people. We still believe that there are good people in Nigeria. We still believe so. And who can be able to do the right thing. So, at this point in time, we want the Nigerian Constitution to replicate what it's been established. And that, of course, means protecting the interests of the Nigerian people. That must be done. Anything short of that, the Nigerian people will not accept it.
All right. Let's talk about the options open to, the political bigwigs in the ADC now. We could project about what the other bigwigs could do, but at least we have you here as the coordinator of the obedient movement. And so you could speak to Mr. Peter Obi's next line of action in the light of the circumstances. So what would that be, particularly if this case drags beyond the electoral timeline required for all the cases to have been sorted out, such that a candidate would have been presented? So if this exceeds beyond that time, what would be the option of your principal?
My principal is a team player. He believes in the will of the people. He will go with where the people want him to be. And that is his strength. The people will help him in deciding where his action will be, especially the Nigerian youth. They are the ones who are championing his cause. So at the time in which he needs them to make a decision, he will revert to them and they will help him in making decision. And I want to say again, as a team player, he will go along with his team and they will discuss extensively and take a decision that will be in the interest of the Nigerian people. That will be their target.
Okay, so let's walk through this, because as I said, we spoke with Senator Dino Melaye yesterday to walk through some of the basic facts of this case, because at the heart of it really is the facts. INEC's decision, what was it based on? Your own response, what is it based on? And moving on, so people understand what is really at play here. And I know that you are conversant with the correspondences of your party with INEC. So let me ask you again, because I asked Senator Dino Melaye yesterday. So you had the official takeover in that sense in July. That's of the coalition taking over the ADC leadership, Senator David Mark and Mr. Ralph Arebeshala, late July. Am I correct, Mr. Yunusa Tanko?
Yeah.
Good. So INEC statement, if you check page 4 of INEC statement, it says that it received that your letter requesting for the submission or the upload of the names of the new principals of the ADC on September the 4th, 2025. Can you confirm that?
Go ahead, please. I'm listening to you.
All right. So INEC says that it received it on September the 4th, 2025, and it was approved for upload on September the 9th of the same year. That's exactly 5 days after. Now, Mr. Nafiu Balagombe instituted his case in court on September the 2nd. So for INEC, it says that status quo antebellum, which is the status before the hostilities began, before whatever court cases began, was when the names were not uploaded yet, which is prior to September the 2nd, because the names were uploaded on September the 9th. So, Mr. Tanko, INEC has explained with its own facts. Do you have facts to counter this?
Like I said earlier on, I hope you are listening. The national chairman of the ADC, because I'm not speaking for the ADC, the national chairman of the ADC choreographed detail, and I wish you can get a copy of that statement. Probably if you don't have, I'll make it available to you. It clearly stipulates every action and the timing in which they took to ensure that every details were taken care of. But here it is. The idea of playing with time and date and all is another ploy in order to deceive the people. The action of INEC ought to have taken place long even before. We are speaking here in April. What took place day before yesterday on the 1st, is an April Fool. I repeat, April Fool, because the day in which those things ought to have been taken care of by INEC, they should have taken a swift action long before now. Why did they wait up to today or yesterday? Why? Those are the questions you want to put to INEC.
Well,
when the momentum of the ADC is gathering momentum and they are saying that people are trooping into the political party, people feel threatened. But that's not supposed to be their problem. They're supposed to be guiding and protecting to ensure that opposition gets its lifeline.
Well,
Mr. The interest of the political party.
Yeah, Mr. Tanko, so you referred to that press conference. So if you look at it very well, and I'm sure you were there, you listened, even the statement agreed with the fact that on September the 9th, 2025, INEC uploaded the names of the relevant NWC members of the party based on NEC resolution. So that statement aligns, and I imagine you have seen that statement, you were even there. It aligns with what INEC said.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not contradicting. I'm only telling you that there's no need for you to play with dates and
no, I'm not playing with dates, Mr.
when
Tanko.
the actual fact
I am
is there.
stating the facts.
INEC did not take its decision.
So the status quo before September the 2nd is what
INEC did not take its own decision
pardon me,
at
Mr.
the time
Tanko.
when due.
So we can have this productively. So my question is about the status
Yes,
quo.
go ahead.
You agree that the names were uploaded September the 9th. So INEC is saying status quo antebellum is prior to the names being uploaded September the 2nd when the case was instituted. So do you have issues with that interpretation of INEC, which you and your party corroborate, is what I'm asking?
What I'm saying is that this question you are asking has to refer out to the lawyers who can establish this particular fact, because they did a due diligence in explaining their own position. They have performed their duty and make sure that they follow the due process. INEC, when they recognized and uploaded the names of the leadership of the party based on the provisions of making sure that they witnessed that particular handing over and then taking over from the party, it was done seamlessly. There was no issue. So when you make reference to the statement, it clearly stipulates that the party have done what is rightfully expected of it to do. Then why come up with all of these things when the party has already getting momentum? The idea is that they are only trying to reduce the momentum of the party based on internal or choreographed situation from those who are trying to truncate democracy.
Well, Mr. Tanko would like, would wait for INEC to respond to some of your posers, and hopefully that it does. But I'd like to believe, or I believe that you are a Democrat yourself, and beyond this conversation being about the need for a viable democracy and the worries around the current challenge bedeviling the ADC, is also upholding the tenets of democracy itself. And a key member of the ADC who had challenged the David Mark's leadership last year is Mr. Ralph Mosu, who has spoken to this current challenge. And he says that the African Democratic Congress chairman at the time sold the ADC to men who had destroyed their own parties and were seeking for another party with which to prosecute their grudge match against President Tinubu and the APC. Besides that, there were concerns around the manner of takeover of the ADC by the David Mark-led group, that there was no NEC meeting, there were no congresses held, and in fact, some of the rules of the party at the time were to the effect that if one candidate resigned, that the next should come from that part of the country where the person who resigned came from. And Mr. Nwosu is from the southeast. Mr. Senator David Mark is from the north. So, is this self-inflicted? No,
let me explain. Party matters are internal matters, and it's already been established by the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And in that case, the party itself will have to explain the processes and for their understanding within the internal mechanism of the party. And I'm sure my good friend Chief Ralph Mosu and his team, Mani and the former National Secretary, are capable of knowing how to deal with their internal matters. The constitution of the party is there, and of course they can deal with issues within the party. So I'm sure, very sure, that Ralph Mosu and his team do everything that they can to ensure that they put the right peg in the right hole. And if you call them over, which is the leadership of the party, they will give you a detailed explanation. And certain things
you're saying the same thing
can be done with a lot of understanding. Like, I am not in the executive of the party, so certain action that may be taken by the party may be within the party itself. So I believe these questions will be better handled by the leadership of the party.
Well, you're saying the same thing the distinguished senator said yesterday about a party's internal affairs being self-regulated. But I just quoted some portions of the party's constitution at the time which should have guided the takeover bid, but which were not adhered to. So if in the process of a party being self-regulated doesn't mean that it should shun its own rules and regulations, then where is internal democracy?
Nobody will agree to shut the constitution of a party. Remember, the constitution of the party derives its strength from the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And so they are very, very careful as regard to what the litigation might end up being. But then there are issues of understanding and moral suasion on a situation that can be taken care of by the political party internally. Of course, that I'm not privy to. And that is why I will refer you back to the political party to ensure that they cannot give you the details of how they're going about solving their internal matters. What they did is solving it in a way to ensure that the party gets a lifeline, what it's already getting at the moment now.
All right. So, Mr. Tanko, final question in 30 seconds. Senator Shehu made a joke online saying that, well, he likes Mr. Peter Obi. He said Peter, though, that he left his slippers in his bucket and all of that in the Labour Party, implying that Mr. Peter Obi is planning to go back to the Labour Party. Is that going to happen?
I'm not aware of that. What I just told you is that Mr. Peter Obi is a team player.
So it's a done deal. It's a done deal. He doesn't plan to go back to the Labour Party to contest.
Peter Obi goes with the people. Anywhere the people tell him to go, you can be sure you'll find Mr. Peter Obi.
Even if it's Labour Party. Even if it's Labour Party, right?
Thank you.
So if the people say he should go to Labour Party, he goes there.
Come again?
If the people say go to Labour Party, he will go there.
I said Peter Obi is a masses person. He can be only where the people want him to be.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tanko. It was just a yes or no question. But
All right.